Hello, welcome to another episode of Comics Unmasked. It's going to be a short one this week, guys, because we're in the middle of a heat wave and it's over 30 degrees today. And the UK is just not built for it.
Literally built for the opposite.
Yes,
Yes.
all our buildings are designed to keep heat in. Like,
hmm
not.
Which means everything is miserable.
Yes. The best thing you can go and do is go and sit in the car if your car's got air conditioning. If it hasn't, you're probably screwed there as well. But,
And if you're like me and you don't have a car, then you're just fucked either way, really.
Same, yeah. Usually a good rule of thumb is go to the cinema or something because they have
Yeah.
nice AC. But that's
pandemic.
yeah. There's kind of a big situation going on, which means maybe that's not advisable to do every day right now.
Well, we
Yeah.
actually do have a topic for this week. Before we get onto the topic, I just want to quickly give a shout out to DC's colour anthologies, for want of a better word. Once upon a time, we would call it Batman Black and White, but now we've decided to expand the range. So I think colour anthologies is the appropriate.
Yeah, because you got
Descriptor.
Superman Red and Blue,
Wonder Woman Black and Gold.
and we
Batman
did have a
Digital
uh,
Only Harley Quinn one as well.
which was like Harley Quinn, like
Black, Red and White.
I've
yeah.
been meaning to check these out. Is it the same concept as Black and White then?
Yes.
Yeah.
And damn, they're good.
Yeah,
Like-
I mean, as with any anthology, varying quality across
But
issues
they-
and stories.
But then here's where I think I've not read Black and White yet. I hopped on to getting back into them with. Well, I really enjoyed the Harley Quinn digital series, and from what I've read, that has potentially the most fine issues. But I will say, like, having read this, I don't think there's anything below it's fine in regards to quality.
None of the issues I've not read all the issues, admittedly, but none of the ones I've read have had anything that's bad. There's
Yeah.
been some where the odd issue where there's been 3 or 4 stories out of maybe 5 where I've gone, the majority of these were fine, but there's one really good one still. And is that enough to justify a
See,
purchase?
For me,
It's up to you, really.
Superman Red and Blue hits more often than not. And there hasn't been a single issue where at least one of the stories, because obviously when you're telling short stories with Superman, you're generally going to fall back onto the
Yeah.
he's a decent guy trope, right? That at his core, Superman is just good. He's kind.
They do that a lot, yeah.
And I don't think there's been a single issue of Red and Blue where I haven't got a slight like tear to the eye with one of the stories as it's hit home. He's just he's just kind, a kind of
Yeah.
arcs. And I read the first issue of Black and Gold just before recording this.
And that's the Wonder Woman one, is it?
It is, yes.
Yeah.
And yeah, there isn't a bad story in this first issue.
Is there a standout story for you in there?
I would say in this issue, no. Maybe maybe I'm Ageless by John Arcudi and Ryan Suck.
I like Ryan.
Okay.
So nice.
Who doesn't like Ryan Suck?
Yeah,
Yeah.
the artwork across them all has been generally stunning.
I think that's true across all these anthologies. They
yeah.
tend to be art focused because of the color theme. Don't get me wrong, some of them have really good writers. Also, a lot of them just have artists telling their own stories, often for the first times.
the art in all of them is a standout. I've read, I think it was Wade and Christian Ward in the last issue of Superman 1, which is a story where Superman goes to prank Mr. Mxyzptlk.
That sounds fun.
Just to kind of teach him a lesson. And Mr. Mxyzptlk tries all the same kind of tricks that Superman has tried on him, but none of them work. And that's because obviously saying Superman backwards would not send Superman back. You'd have to say Clark Kent backwards.
It's very clever.
And however, I don't think there's a single bad issue in this, bad story in this opening Wonder Woman, or even below good. But I don't think any of them have one in this first issue go like, oh,
That's
yeah.
the one. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
the
That's
standout.
it.
Which a lot of these issues do tend to have. Like they have that one story that sticks with you.
Next, the issue 2 has Tillie Walden,
Oh, nice one.
which connects us to what we're going to be talking about today.
It's a hell of a
And,
segue.
Mariko Tamaki and Jamie McKelvey on the story together.
God,
Yeah,
the
and
art they've got
Tamaki
these books.
has been Ryan Wonder did a little bit of a Wonder Woman run
Yeah.
anyway, right? Not so long ago. It was underwhelming from what I expect from Tamaki, if I'm being perfectly honest, but not bad. Just up to our usual standards.
Yeah.
But McKelvey, yeah, I'm going to be there.
McKelvey had his first written work in about 10 years published.
He did in the
this week as well.
was it Captain Marvel
Yeah.
anthology special something or other.
Yes, it's just the 30th issue, which is just basically the latest issue of
Thompson still writing it?
Yeah, latest issue of Thompson's one. I think it caps off Captain Marvel trying to learn magic arc. And then there's a 10-page story in the back. That's the McKelvey one.
Oh, that's cool.
I think is a Captain Marvel, Miss Marvel story, because obviously he designed both costumes.
Oh, that's cool. Obviously, he's been suffering a lot with injuries for the last couple of years, which sucks because I really want to see his space opera comic. He has hypermobility, which something I have as well, where my arm does that, and my knees do it, and my thumbs
coupled with potentially not taking care of himself as an artist in his earlier
basically
years.
This is something that I was taught at school when it was realized I had this. Just writing takes approximately twice the effort it does for someone else to write. Just because of the way your muscles work and the way the joints are, it takes physically more effort and more energy for your body to do it. It's fine for me, I don't really write. But if you're an artist holding a pen or a pen-shaped digital object all day, that can have a pretty serious impact, especially when you're doing that for years in and out.
And in general, I think it's something that's been discussed a lot these days on the lines of artists need to take care of themselves in the younger years.
Just general welfare,
I know it's not a career full of injury that would probably be the first thing to jump to your mind, but it's a career that takes its toll on the body in the same way that sports does to
It's
athletes.
like how there's that story of Michael Flatley. You know, his feet were insured for millions.
Yeah.
Because if he can't dance and do fancy things with his feet, his career is over. And it's the same for artists in their hands.
But on to cheerier subject, and the main subject of the episode, On a Sunbeam by Tillie Walden.
Which I know clearly me and James both read in the nice fancy hardcover published edition. Andrew, I don't know about you.
So I have both a confession to make and an appraisal to make. I fucking loved On a Sunbeam. I read it in hardcover. However, it was lent to me by a friend, and I wasn't able to actually finish it before they moved. So I've not read the last 100 pages of it, but I've read about 3/4 of it.
Here's the great thing. It is available online for free.
I know, I've been meaning to get it.
Yeah, it was published originally as a webcomic, and it's still there. Even after it was published, as a traditional book, they left it up as a webcomic that anyone can just go and read. And look,
published by Avery Hill, which is a UK independent comic.
It annoys me.
I'm sure there is a US publication as well, but also you should just go and read it because it's freaking fantastic.
It is.
It annoys me how talented and brilliant and wonderful Tillie Walden is as an artist, because she's also a year younger than me. And the level of... Sorry, I don't know what the pronouns are. Is it she or they, or... I can't remember. I have a feeling that their pronouns changed recently. I'm not sure.
Sick.
But,
that would be news to me, but that is not...
Like in the last year, or maybe I'm thinking of somebody else.
See if I can find anything.
Okay, we'll go with she then.
The bio in the book has she.
Cool. All right, we'll go with she then.
That seems pretty safe then.
Yeah, but her artwork is just amazing, and I think like when I first read it, the thing that really struck me was like it didn't really feel like any other piece of science fiction that I've ever read before, because it was so the sense of design and world building was so in the face of other science fiction things. I mean, the Dune trailers just come out today, and all the ships are like these mechanical things, whereas on a Sunbeam the ships look like fish or birds.
Yes.
Or,
I mean, I said to Tim, your co-collaborator on Twitter, just I think it was yesterday. It's sci-fi by way of Miyazaki.
Yeah.
This is the most Studio Ghibli looking thing I have ever seen outside of their works. By far.
The world building seems to not. It's amazing. It's one of the most unique sci-fi worlds I've ever encountered.
It's something that I didn't realize till about halfway through the book. There are no men at all in this world. There are women. There are non-binary characters. There are no men, and that's not a negative or a critique. I'm sure it's an inherent part of the story, not in the story, but the themes.
Do you mean that there's no men full stop in the world, or just no men in the story?
It's left ambiguous. There's none in the story. There's none ever referenced. It's possible some exist, but they are never ever referenced.
I didn't know. I didn't pick up on that the first time round.
No, it was only about halfway through when I realized, and it makes sense because it's a crew on a ship for the most part. They're like I said, mostly women, one non-binary character. The flashbacks take place in an all-girls school, so there's no reason for there to be any men. Which is why I say the universe doesn't preclude them existing in this world. There's no reason that they aren't out there. We just never encounter any. In the same way that you can watch a lot of films or read books where there are just no women, right? Yeah. And I'm not saying that's a good thing. It's clearly not. But you also, unless you're actually, you probably don't notice it that much. You just kind of watch it, and it's just there. Yeah. It's just what's presented to you. It's the same thing here. Until you notice, you don't even think about it. Like, you read the vast majority of the book and didn't even notice.
Yeah. It's because it's not necessary to the storytelling. I think, like, the comparison that was in my mind when I was reading it, and I hate to compare Tillie Walden's work to, like, a male creator, but, like, it reminded me a little bit of, like, Jim Jarmusch films, because a lot of the sort of day-to-day scenes in the books seem to, like, be... The emphasis always seems to be on, like, these minor interactions between people and sort of these, like, conversations and the way that people interact in a rather kind of empathetic, very humane kind of way.
It's a love story about found family and lost and regained love, right? That's the world building is not necessarily important to the story.
No, and
it's fantastic world
at
building.
its core a relatively simple story, just with great character work.
The use of negative space in some of the artwork.
Oh my god, yeah.
As well.
The use of
drawing, her technical and architectural drawing and design is
and it stands out at such odds to the very naturalistic ships. Which are like these animals.
Something in this format as well, and 100%, this is a graphic novel. Right? Presented as it is. It's what?
Yes, it was technically published in individual chapters, I believe, as a webcomic.
Yeah.
But that's just because that's how webcomics are done. You don't publish something of this size in one go.
533 pages.
Yeah, it's not short. It's a very quick read, though. Like, I mean, James already started it yesterday, I think.
A while, but I couldn't put it down. That's the thing. As soon as I started it...
I read this, I think it was the week before we did our episode on all-time favourite comics.
Yeah.
And I read this that week, and I was like, God damn, this just entered that... Like, already, I was like, this just entered that level of consideration. I was like... And obviously, I wasn't ready to put that level that week. It was way too fresh for me to be
and the first half
genuinely
of the book,
putting it there.
Where you're flicking between the past and the present.
The colouring, that one half is red and one's blue, essentially.
And then obviously the latter half, everything is revealed, so we're all in the present for or certainly the final third.
Yeah, and the way the colours that are representative in the first half for time periods become fixed to characters in the back part of the book is just like the colouring work is phenomenal.
Just look at That,
It's
man.
so gorgeous. I remember when I was reading it, I posted a page. It was of two of the ships. I'll never find the page now. I'll probably never even find the picture on my Twitter because it
Yeah.
was months ago that I posted this. But my God, it
Yeah.
is just phenomenal. Like you could open it at pretty much any page
Like,
and be stunned by
it's
how
this
good it looks.
when we're coming to the planet and we just get these silent pages,
Yeah.
and you don't, and in something
Silent
pace like
storytelling is not something that I see a lot in comics, and I think when comics do have silent storytelling, it's when comics are working at their best in a lot of ways.
Inherently, yeah, because comics, the storytelling it's a visual medium,
it's
right?
harder to do, I think, in the 22-page monthly.
Yeah.
It is,
Format,
though
though.
there are examples of
There
it.
are.
Even in that format, there are examples of it, and it being goddamn effective.
I think the reason it works so well in something paced like a novel, though, is you don't feel you're missing anything.
No, you have
because
just a handful of pages at some
Yeah.
point that are silent. The best example in the monthly comics I can think of is
I mean,
a DC comic.
I mean, the most famous is the G.I. Joe issue, isn't it?
Yeah,
I've never read it
but
myself, but that is generally.
I mean, the one that was effective and hit me was during the New 52 of DC Comics. After Damian died,
Oh yeah, that was a good
they
issue.
did an issue. I believe it was Tomasi, and I want to say it was Gleason on art. I'm like 90% sure it was Gleason.
It'd have been
There's one
Gleason, so
I'm
it'd
thinking
been
of as
Gleason or
well that
Mank.
was during J. Michael Straczynski's Spider-Man run, and I think there was a silent issue where Aunt May, the previous issue, had found out that Peter Parker was Spider-Man, and the issue in silence followed Aunt May around for the next day as she's sort of grappling with
Yeah,
the idea
that's what this issue was. Kind of, it was Robin is dead, and it was just an issue of mourning essentially.
Yeah.
And it was phenomenally well done. Like,
Yeah.
genuinely just staggering. Like, people go, "Oh, I didn't get any dialogue. It was too fast to read in my monthly comic." I don't give a shit. That is one of the best single issues DC put out in that 5-year period.
Yeah.
Like, there's part of me that just wants to shove a copy of this into the hands of everyone who's out there going like, comics are dead. Comics are dead. It's a dying. It's a dying medium. It's a dying form. It's like.
I will. You know what? I can't even accept the argument that the direct market is dead because every single sales statistic points to the opposite of that.
Yeah.
Comics are selling more right now across the board than they have done at any point in the last 20 years.
Yeah.
That is just a fact based off of the market of the numbers. That there is no arguing with that.
Comics are not dead.
And
even
not
if the
at all.
direct market was, this is still comics. Just because it's
Yeah.
not coming to you through damn and any. I would hope that any comic shop worth its kind of salt is stocking stuff like this on
Yeah.
the shelves.
I have never been in a comic shop that doesn't. Even the big chains like for us, the Forbidden Planets, that we kind of see as barely comic shops. They sell comics, but they sell so much else, right?
I guess-
and they're a bit corporate.
A
Even
shop-
they sell stuff like
A
this.
shop that superheroes are the bread and butter, and they don't have clientele outside of that. And I could see why they'd argue like we wouldn't sell it, but try.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah, and
I mean, my comic shop, I've just ordered the new, I think it's called Alone in Space. It's
it's the collection. Yeah,
It's not a new book,
I-
but it's a collection of the first 3 graphic novels by Tillie Walden.
I get paid tomorrow, and I plan on ordering it from OK Comics because they have a limited edition slipcover version of it.
it's at the OK Comics. It's not a slipcover. It's just a just dust jacket.
Oh, dust jacket.
Nice.
What it has, because like I said, I have it right here because I finished reading on a Sunbeam and immediately pre-ordered this book because I was like, I need more Tillie Walden.
Yeah.
And then I had like a 3 or 4 month wait. It's got The End of Summer, I Love This Part, and A City Inside. Those are the 3 published works that you can get individually. But then it also has another, I don't know, 100 odd pages or so of short stories, unpublished little bits, little Q&A at the back, stuff like that, that are, have never been published before, in print anyway.
Glossy pages.
What's that?
Glossy pages.
Yes,
Yeah.
reasonably.
Just
Like,
sort of
not,
shine on
not.
them and thought, ooh, they look glossy.
Yeah, they're not like over the top, but they're not matte pages.
Yeah, because obviously on a Sunbeam is matte, isn't it?
Yeah.
Which works for the colouring and the.
I've actually only read the first story in this, but it was very good. I enjoyed it a lot. I've been kind of pacing them out a little bit. Just kind of don't want to burn through it all at once.
Yeah.
But I mean, I definitely recommend it anyway. Clearly.
Like, it's the one of those names where, like, and I know Palamati on Twitter is quite doom and gloom about comics.
Yeah, he's a strange one.
Yeah, and yeah, anytime I see people going, it's like, oh, that comics just aren't doing well. And taking the direct market aside, which again, as numbers are proving, the direct market is also doing relatively well at the moment.
Yeah. Oh, I found the page I was on about. You know, I was on saying I found on Twitter. Look at that.
Yeah,
Oh,
that is
Jesus.
just stunning.
That is.
It like when I see
Spectacular.
artwork like that, when I see Tillie Walden's artwork, it's like it almost makes me want to cry because it's so good.
It hurts
Like-
you. Like, you're never going to be that good.
Yeah, it hurts me that I'm never going to be that good. But like also, it's that sort of art style that you only ever really see once in a lifetime. A bit like Mike Mignola or Alex Toth, where like you see it and it's undeniably that creator's work, and it feels like there hasn't been anything before like it. You know?
And
Yeah,
yeah, it's another name, like, it's one of those names along with, like, so like, oh, no one buys kids don't buy comics anymore. It's like, no, kids aren't necessarily buying direct market books, and that's a direct market problem to solve,
Yeah.
right?
Which is why IDW will be fine. They are doing a lot of kids' books.
I mean,
DC
right?
are doing a great job with their graphic novels for a younger audience.
Raina Telmeier sells in the millions.
Yeah, I have never even seen a page.
I've seen
Not
pages.
a page of
I've
their
never
work. I don't know what her work looks like. But that is not me saying it's bad or that I don't care. I'm glad it's selling well. I'm not the market for it, I don't think.
No, I'm not the market.
And that's okay.
For it.
We've got a few books of hers in my school library, and they're among the most popular books that we have for the kids.
Yeah.
Speaking of kids comics, well, not kids, but accessible. I got the new Scales and Scoundrels
the
volumes
hardcovers?
delivered today. No, they're the paperbacks. I found out what was going on with that. The hardcovers are coming out next year, so I may triple dip when those come out.
I picked them up digitally, so I'll probably get the hardcovers next year.
I may triple dip. I now have 2 paperbacks of the original versions that I need to get rid of, so I'll probably throw it out to Twitter and see who has a kid in the UK that reads comics and just post them. Or I would donate to my library, but my library aren't accepting donations right now due to pandemic-related reasons.